What's going on, Giants fans? In today's show, we're going to go through some new Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors stemming from ESPN. But first, I want to ask you this question. Who would you rather have under center for the Giants come week one? Type 8 for Daniel Jones or type 10 for porn star Jimmy? Should the Giants pursue Jimmy Garoppolo in a trade? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and that's what Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN thinks they should do. And that's coming from a different couple reports that have come over the past couple of days. First, it was David Carr, who said the Giants should go out and look to trade. And he said he wouldn't be surprised if a Jimmy Garoppolo trade happened. And now Mike Tannenbaum is saying the Giants should also pursue Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to break all this down, and I will give you my opinion, which I want to let you know off the top. I do not think the Giants should or will go trade for Jimmy G, but we're a news and rumors channel, so we're going to break down the latest rumors. This is what Mike Tannenbaum had to say. He said, the Giants strike me as another team that could or should pursue Garoppolo. The team did not pick up current starter Daniel Jones' fifth-year option, and he is set to hit the open market next March. Bringing in Garoppolo would make sense in a way because they do not seem to have a contingency plan. And as such, the mid-round conditional pick cost for Garoppolo might be worthwhile. I just want to start it off with this, and we said it a second ago. Do I think this happens? No, I think we're a little bit too far in the process. Training camp opened up for rookies today. Vets are going to come in a week. OTAs have already happened. Mini camps have already happened. Daniel Jones is already starting to digest the new Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka offense. Could Jimmy Garoppolo pick it up very quick? Yes, because he's a pro's pro. He's been in the league, been in multiple systems. But I just think it's a little bit too late in the process to trade for a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also would not be surprised because let's go back a couple of months ago. We know that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen were trying to sign Mitchell Trubisky in NFL free agency, and he wasn't coming here just to be the number 2 quarterback, number what, no matter what. It was going to be a battle in training camp, mini camp, in the preseason to see who was going to be the starter week 1. So if you were interested in Mitchell Trubisky, why would they not be interested in Jimmy Garoppolo? Mitch, he's not the quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's been to the Super Bowl. He's an overthrow away from being a Super Bowl champion. Been to the conference championship twice in the past 4 years. He's a better quarterback. Like I said, do I think it happens? No. Do I want it to happen? No. But Mike Tannenbaum, he thinks it's a good idea. And this is also what he said on Jimmy G to the Giants. He said, Garoppolo may fit their competitive timeline more comfortably as the Giants wad through a weak NFC East? If the Giants feel that bringing in a veteran bridge quarterback such as Garoppolo to shepherd a future draft pick into this starting role is worthwhile, they may try to pounce at the opportunity to acquire Garoppolo a year early. And I don't really agree with that type of statement. That's wade through, excuse me. I'm not very good at reading. But what I take away from this is a win-now move by the Giants if they were going to go all in for Jimmy Garoppolo. And are the Giants, as much as I want them to be and as much as you want them to be, a legit team that can contend in the NFC East and in the NFC? I think they can contend in the NFC East, but I don't know if they're ready to contend in the NFC at all, to be honest with you. I love the Giants. I want them to do great, but sometimes we got to be realistic. And if you feel like Jimmy Garoppolo moves the needle, then you go do that. I personally do not think it does. We're going to break all this down, and I'll continue to give you guys more insight on what I'm thinking and what Tannenbaum's thinking. But I want to ask you this question. Should the Giants trade for Jimmy G? Does it make sense for it to happen? If you were Joe Schoen, would you make it happen? Let me know what you think. Type Jimmy G for yes, or you can go down in the comment section and type F Jimmy for no. Look, if a trade happens, we're going to be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. And I want to be transparent with you guys. We had a sub-battle race to 10,000 subscribers between me and our producer today, Matthew Peterson, as always, who runs the Cleveland Browns Report. We're both over 10K now, so salute and thank you to you. But we lost the battle. But the war is not over, and I want to beat him to 11,000 subscribers. So help me put Petey and the Browns Report in the dirt. If you love the Giants and want free daily videos on the latest Giants news and rumors, this is your one-stop shop. go down right now and hit that big red button. My overall take of trading for Jimmy Garoppolo from the Giants' standpoint is, what's the point? Why would you do it? The only reason it actually makes a little bit of sense is if you truly believe that, or Joe Schoen truly believes, that Jimmy Garoppolo would make them a contender this year. And you and me, I don't think we agree or would agree with Joe Schoen if he thought that. Joe Schoen doesn't seem like the type of guy that's ready to push all the chips into the middle of the table for a one-year win-now season. And when we know the Giants roster is not one of the most deeper rosters in the NFL. Garoppolo, who's been mentioned in trade rumors all offseason long. And he's due $24.2 million in a trade, but Garoppolo will restructure his deal if he gets traded, just like Baker Mayfield did. What was the exact details? He took
2024 fifth.
No, the money. The Browns, the Browns ate $8 million of his salary. And that's something that the 49ers and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan would do if they traded Jimmy Garoppolo to the Giants. Yes, they would restructure his contract. The Giants would not be on the hook for $24.2 million. No way they would make that trade. But if, let's say the Giants were only on the books for $12 million, could they be interested? And the Giants, they continue to be linked to Jimmy Garoppolo. And sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. But in this situation, I really don't believe the rumors to be all that true. We know Jimmy Garoppolo has had some really good seasons in the NFL. He's just a winner, a really good game manager. This past year in 15 games, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But he's also had a lot of injuries. And I think if you traded for him, you would need him to play a certain percentage of snaps, like in that Baker Mayfield trade, for the draft pick to end up in a certain round or a round later or earlier. Jimmy G, as good as he is, and as much playoff success as he's had, does not make the Giants contenders this year. And I don't think he would make them contenders next year. This is a rebuild and a retool. And adding Jimmy Garoppolo, a quarterback that's about to be a free agent next offseason, doesn't make that much sense to me. And if the Giants struggle, which you would make this trade if you're Joe Schoen because you think the Giants are going to struggle, why would you want to make this team better, have a worse draft pick than if you kept Daniel Jones under center, who you're trying to figure out if he's the guy? And if he's not, you're going to be picking at the top of the NFL draft. This really doesn't make all that much sense to me. I'm not sure why talking heads across the NFL keep bringing it up, but if they do, we're going to keep breaking it down and try to give you guys a more digestible piece of information. I think if a trade were to happen, which I don't, it would look very similar to a Baker Mayfield trade, where the Browns, they received a 2024 conditional fifth-round pick that could convert into a fourth-round pick if he plays 70% of the snaps. Yes, if he plays 70% of the snaps. And the Panthers get Baker Mayfield. I think a trade would look very similar. I think, though, Jimmy Garoppolo would go for a fourth-round conditional pick that could turn into a third-round pick if he meets the playing time demands of that trade. I think he's more proven. I think he's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, and that's why I think he would go for a fourth-round conditional pick instead of a fifth-round pick. I wouldn't do the trade. I don't think it makes sense financially, team-building-wise. It doesn't match up the timeline with the New York Football Giants. But I want everyone right now to weigh in and let me know how you're feeling. Would you make this trade? Type A for accept, or you can go down in the comment section and type D for decline. I want to touch on this before we get on out of here. Joe Schoen, is he nervous about training camp? He was at a golf event this past weekend, and he spoke to some media members, and they asked him, what are you most looking forward to about training camp? And he said, me going out there and being a nervous wreck, a first-time GM, watching the roster that he constructed with minimal assets that they had, go out there. And he said he's going to try to trim the roster down from 90 to 52 like everybody else. But this quote I thought was pretty interesting. He said, as roster attrition sets in, that's stressful because there's 90 guys on 32 rosters. There's only so many players out there at each position that can still function in a camp. It's always very stressful for me. And for me, as a Giants fan coming out of the Dave Gettleman era, the transparency is very refreshing. Dave Gettleman would have been like, I'm not stressed. I'm the best GM in the world. I'm Dave Gettleman. I got 27 hog mollies out there and drafted 48 defensive tackles. We're good. We're going to win football games, not Joe Schoen. I love everything that Joe Schoen has done this offseason. He's transparent. He seems like he really wants to be the face of the Giants and connect with the fans, and that's awesome. Training camp in general is going to be big for the Giants. There's a lot of players on this roster that are fighting for final 53-man roster spots, like a lot of teams across the NFL. But they're at some key positions like running back, wide receiver, tight end. We don't know who the starting tight end is going to be. The starting left guard spot is still up in the air. There are spots all across this depth chart that are going to be up for grabs where someone could put their best foot forward in training camp. So I want to ask you this question before we jet on out of here. What player has the most to prove at Giants training camp? Is it Darius Slayton, a guy that's been mentioned in trade rumors and as a cut candidate all offseason long? Is it Shane Lemieux, who's battling to be that starting left guard? And if he's not, he may be on the outside looking in. There's a lot of different ways you can go, but Giants fans, let me know what you're thinking. Give me a player who has the most to prove at Giants training camp. With the NFL season right around the corner, I'm starting to tweet about the Giants more and more every single day. So hit me up on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. And everybody that follows me from this video, I'll make sure to follow you back. All you got to do, give me a follow and send me a DM letting me know that you came from this video.